mentions. One skill of a critical reader or a strong reader is that they make connections while they read. So this helps us remember the material more and relates it to our own lives. We have 3 types of connections. Number 1, text to self. What's a good notion we could use for that? Maybe this. Text to self. Text to world. What can we do for this one? I like that. Text to text. What can we do for text to text? Maybe like opening a book.
Oh,
So a text can be a book. What else could it be?
a keyboard.
Well, yeah. But when we're referring to text, we're not just referring to books. We're also referring to maybe a video, because we can learn from videos. Maybe related to a movie you've seen or a documentary, right? When I say text, you say self. Text.
Self.
Text.
World.
Text.
Text.
Okay, let's do it with the emotions. Ready? Text.
Self.
Text.
World.
Oh, you guys did this. That was last box. Text.
Text. Oh, sorry.
Let's try it again. I wasn't clear. Ready? Text.
Self.
Text.
World.
Text.
Text.
Okay.
keep writing in the book.
Let's start with text to self. Our sentence starter. This is like my life because what is the story reminding you of? Do you have a similar experience? Remember, Ian said one example is if you play football and the character plays football. That's a text to self connection. Or we've also made connections to Salva in our novel, right? Remember, we were thinking, what would I do if I heard a gunshot at school? How would I feel? Text to world. What does this remind you of in the outside world? When we're reading about Salva and how he's getting lost in the woods, does that remind you of something you learned in social studies, maybe, about a different war? Does it remind you about something going on in your own life? This is like the verb.
When I got lost.
When you got lost. So that could be a text to self connection. If you're thinking about maybe when you read about a refugee that got lost, that might be text to world.
Oh, I watched this video about a travel person who got lost in the woods.
Okay. That might be a text to text actually. So our text to text is, this is like another story or article. And I'm gonna add, it could also be a video or a documentary. So we're looking at, what does this remind you of from another book you've read? Drawing on your prior knowledge. Okay.
So I'm gonna look for I survived the
Uh-huh.
New Orleans. And that book is like the main character Barry, he gets lost and struggling to stay alive in the
That's a really great text to text connection. Let's give snaps for academic risk taking. All right. Since we already have our notes typed out for you, we still want to interact with the notes so you remember them. So what's something in this sentence that we should underline? The most important part about text to self connections. What are we doing? What word should we underline? My
life.
My life, right? Let's underline my life. So we're highlighting my life. Underline. What about text to world? What's an important word we should highlight?
World. Something in the world.
Yeah, who said that? Yeah, lowercase world. So we're relating what we read or what we watch to the world around us. And last one, text to text. In that final sentence, what should we highlight?
Another story or article.
Story or article, yeah, I like that. So we're underlining story or article. Have we all annotated our notes?
Yes.
Yes. Nice.
It could be, we'll underline a little bit, like a few more words more, does that have to do that?
Totally, whatever works for you, these are your notes that you can use. Whatever helps you remember the material. And then you can help. All right. We're gonna be watching a video, so we can go ahead and tilt our lids. About, believe it or not, cows burping. So, as we're watching, I want you to think in your head, what connections can I make to myself? What connections can I make to the world? And what connections can I make to other things I've read or watched?
Now our climate and crisis coverage is a possible game changer in the fight against climate change. Greenhouse gas methane is a real troublemaker when it comes to the climate. Most of it comes from cows and other grazing animals as they break down plants. But as NBC Bay Area's Marion Pablo reports, UC Davis researchers have just discovered that a simple ingredient found in sushi, of all things, could be the trick for drastically cutting down on methane. Cows are constantly chewing. Problem is, as they break down what they eat, they also belch out a lot of methane.
Methane is what's called a greenhouse gas. And what greenhouse gas do is they trap heat from the environment, which then eventually becomes the warming of the plant.
But at UC Davis, researchers found feeding dairy cows small portions of seaweed drastically reduced how much methane they produced.
So in our dairy study, we found up to a 67% reduction in methane.
And that's not all. These cattle are bred for beef, and when researchers fed them the seaweed diet, the results were even more impressive. They saw an 82% reduction in methane. Now our climate and crisis covered.
So what's going on here? What did they find? Graham.
What they found out methane, so methane is a bad chemical gas thing released by cows with the food they eat, but they found it a cow is partially juicy and it's down on the production of methane.
Yeah, methane is bad for climate, causes global warming. So we're trying to reduce the amount of emissions through seaweed, which is really interesting. And it didn't take much. I think it said like 3 ounces a day, which is like taking a vitamin, right? Here.
Machines several times a day to measure the methane in the cow's breath. The theory is that the seaweed inhibits an enzyme in the cow's digestive system, so it produces less methane. But will the seaweed diet impact the taste of milk, cheese, and beef? While researchers did not test the flavor of milk and cheese from the dairy cows, they did conduct a taste test comparing steak from seaweed-fed steers to traditional steak.
We had 112 people testing the beef, and they could not see any. They could not detect any difference in taste.
UC Davis animal science professor Dr. Arias Cabral, who conducted the seaweed study, says the cows receive just 3 ounces a day, and it appears to be a low-cost solution to get up to an 82% reduction in methane.
This has a huge implication for the dairy industry because the state has a mandate to reduce methane emissions by 40% in the next 9 years.
While more research needs to be done, the seaweed diet may be the first step in reducing greenhouse gases in agriculture and creating a more sustainable burger. At UC Davis, Marianne Favreau, NBC Bay Area News.
Making me hungry. So, what connections can we make
Now our climate.
to ourselves after watching that video? So this is something, it doesn't necessarily have to be something you have in common. Maybe you don't have cows at your home. But what's something about your life that you can relate to this? Raise your hand. Yeah. You.
I want to build sweat.
You want to help stop climate change? That's amazing. Yeah. So one way you could do that is purchasing beef that you know has been fed seaweed.
Or having select.
That's a great one. If you're not sure what to start your sentence with, you can start, in my opinion. So Ian might say, in my opinion, helping stop climate change is really important.
What page are we on?
We are on slide 11, I believe, in your notes. I also might say, I remember when I've been grocery shopping with my mom, she likes to buy organic meat because she knows that the animals are treated and fed better. So that's one connection I had to the video. You could also say, in my life, I love to eat hamburgers. So I might find beef that has been fed seaweed.